Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the quickest hour in real estate. My name is Warren Nelson, and this is Online Real Estate School Incorporated. And I see that we have a countdown, so got to give it 10 more seconds, ladies and gentlemen, before we can officially go live. 4, 3, 2, 1, bingo. All right, very good, ladies and gentlemen. So, good evening, everyone. I am Warren Nelson, and this is the quickest hour in real estate. This is Online Real Estate School Incorporated, and I put together this show. I put together this class to introduce students who are in the process of researching a real estate school. I put together this free class to introduce my live streaming classes to them, to give you a little bit more research to add to your arsenal to help you make decisions. So that's what we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be having a little bit of a class demonstration. I'm trying to multitask here at the same time. And make sure. All right, there we go. Okay, very, very good. Just making sure everything is working. Okay, very, very good. All right, good, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so here's how it works. In the state of Pennsylvania, they require you to take 2 classes and have an understanding of 2 topics. Those 2 topics are real estate practice and real estate fundamental. Now, real estate practice deals with working with a client, working with a contract, working with negotiations, working with commission. So understanding the contracts that are involved in real estate, understanding the client and the client's concerns and wishes, understanding how to negotiate on behalf of the client, stuff like this, taking them out to see properties, showing them the pros and the cons of the property, and representing them, all around representing them. That is what real estate practice is all about. Learning how to represent a client, understanding the real estate business through the contract aspect of it. And so the Real Estate Commission has set up certain requirements that you need to achieve and understand in order to receive your real estate license. So real estate practice deals with working with the client, the contracts, the business, but real estate fundamentals deals with the legal aspects of it, starting with federal, state, and local laws. And then we get into a lot of other federal, state, and local laws of understanding, like the American Disability Act, the Fair Housing Laws, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. What is FACTA? And so when we talk about federal, state, and local, we need to understand how these laws will apply in the real estate arena so that you can better do your job of representing. So having an understanding of what you can and cannot do would be likelier for you to be able to advise others on what they can and cannot do. Now we'll talk about what you can and cannot do. You're a real estate agent, a real estate representative. You're not an attorney. You're not an accounting. And so we want to make sure that we don't cross the line in the sand and pretend to be more than we actually are. We will be real estate representatives, and that is an honorable position. It is a licensed position. And once you have that real estate license, now you can earn compensation in the real estate arena by representing others. Without the real estate license, you may not earn compensation by representing someone in the real estate arena. You have to be licensed to do so. You need a license to practice medical, you need a license to practice law, and you need a license to practice real estate. Practicing medical without a law, practicing medical without a degree, without a license is a criminal offense. Practicing law without a license or degree is a criminal offense, and practicing real estate without a license or degree is a criminal offense. So you have to understand you do need to be licensed in order to uh, help others, especially if you are expecting any kind of compensation. Uh, Now, when you take this class, we talk about negotiating that compensation, which is known as an agency agreement or plain language, an employment contract. And so we're going to learn about having an employment contract with the buyer, having an employment contract with the seller, having an agency agreement with the buyer, having an agency agreement with the seller. So you can see we have a little bit of a terminology that you need to understand. Agency agreement means employment contract. You understand employment contract, but you will have to learn agency agreement and understand it's the same thing. But in the state, in order to represent anybody, you do have to have them under contract, and we have to have what's known as consensual action, consensual agreement. Both parties have to understand what they're agreeing to and understand the ramifications of this contract. So that's what real estate practice and real estate fundamentals is basically all about. And so having the mechanics of these two studies is a requirement by the state so that you can better represent. Knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen. Ignorance is bliss. Don't get me wrong, but knowledge is power. And taking this road of getting a real estate license, traveling this journey is going to open up many other doors, opportunities that you had never even anticipated would present themselves to you. So this is a journey that I always like to encourage everybody to do because you know you wanted to. You've been doing it. You wanted to do it for a long time. You wanted to do it years ago, but things got in the way. Life got in the way. Many reasons. But you know, one way or another, that having a knowledge and a degree in real estate is going to pay dividends for you. And I like to say, ladies and gentlemen, that once you get a real estate license, you have a golden ticket. You got a ticket to ride. You'll never be broke. You'll never be unemployed. It's like a passport, that real estate license. And as I said, it's going to take you on a journey that you might never have ever anticipated. And that is the adventures of real estate. You never know where your next client's going to come from, and you never know what your next client is going to present to you. So this is it's an adventure. You're going to love real estate, ladies and gentlemen. If you are the few that decide to venture into this and you don't hold yourself back, then you're going to enjoy the life that you are going to surround yourself with this real estate knowledge. It's going to open up many opportunities for you. With a real estate license, you can work for a brokerage, you can work for a Fortune 500 company, Fortune 300, Fortune 100 company, franchises. They're all in the real estate business. They all have their own real estate and tax departments. They're always looking for a new location. You could go to work for a property management company. You can go to work for a developer. You can go to work for an investor. You could become your own investor with the knowledge that you achieve. It depends. Everybody's got a different reason as to why they are pursuing real estate. Some want to simply help others. Some want to make sure that the contract that they're about to enter into, they know more about. So they're about to buy a property or sell a property and probably work with a real estate agent for the first time. So they're there in my class to get that knowledge, to get the understanding. And so many of my students always come back to the class over and over again. They got the knowledge, but what they're looking for now is the confidence, the boost, something that's going to give them that boost to take all the knowledge that they have and put it into effect. And so that's what this class is. Many of the students understand that when they come to online real estate school, this is their alma mater. This is the school that they're going to brag about. This is the school that they're very proud of, and the school that changed their course, their direction. And I thank them always for allowing me to share this journey with them at this early stage of their real estate journey. So that's what this show that I do, ladies and gentlemen, I put together. And this show is probably 3 years now, maybe, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years. I've kind of lost track, but I got some loyal viewers that I love to get a shout out right now. Donnie, you're out there. Joji, Benny, I want to thank you. Donnie, you've been a loyal viewer from the very beginning. I did not try to put together this show or episode or video to be like a show. I was really just wanted to be like an introductory course for potential students who were researching real estate. So that's all I really wanted to set out to do with this particular show, is kind of give an educational format of what you will experience in the classroom and see my teaching style. And so I thought this would be a good interviewing process for future students. But it turned out that I have viewers far and far. And I just really, I can't thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen. So I need to give a shout out to Donnie. Donnie, thank you, brother. I also am waiting to see your show, your YouTube channel. So send me that information. I appreciate that. Because I know you got a YouTube channel. I'd love to check that out. And I want to thank you, Donnie, for being a loyal follower and following my show week after week for the years that it's been on there. You're loyal. Benny, Joji, again, thank you very much for your loyalty of always being there. And then I like to start giving shout outs to some of my other viewers that have been sticking around for a while. So fortunately, I must be doing something right, ladies and gentlemen. Not completely boring. So I guess I have my good weeks and my bad weeks. And sometimes it's good to have a week off from me. So that's where we are. Now, thanks again for my viewers. Thanks again for my comments, my likes, and all the other things that go along with this arena. Once again, thank you very much for all that, the recognition. Let's do a little real estate. Let's do a little education, a little course here today, ladies and gentlemen, because I did get a lot of comments that you would like to learn a little bit more about real estate in this 1 hour, and I'll be happy to do that. So what we're going to learn in my class is the financial arena. And we're going to learn about the mortgages, conventional, FHA, VA. Those will be our primary mortgage, but we have other investment mortgages like balloon mortgages, package loans, blanket mortgages, reverse annuity mortgages, and so forth. So in the financial arena of wanting to invest in real estate, learning the mortgages and what those mortgages say and include is very, very important. We always talk about an assignment of property or an assumption of a mortgage, an assignment of a mortgage, an assumption of a mortgage. Well, understand there might be language in that mortgage known as an alienation clause or an acceleration clause. And I assure you the acceleration clause is there, but is the alienation clause there? If there's an alienation clause in the mortgage, then we will need the bank's permission to allow anybody to assume or assign that mortgage to them. So you need to understand the language of the mortgage, what the mortgage is, what the note is, and the difference between them. And if you understand the language in the mortgage, and then you will be a much, much better investor by understanding what you can and cannot take over on payments and what you can. Now, let me give you an example. Let's just say that I'm buying a property for $200,000. The seller already has a $100,000 mortgage on the property. They owe $100,000. Now, here's your lesson. Just because there's a lien on a property does not mean the seller can't sell it. Yes, the seller has a $100,000 lien. They owe the bank $100,000 in the mortgage, but they're selling the property for $200,000. So just because there's a lien against the property doesn't mean we can't sell the property. And in this situation, I offered the seller $100,000 cash, and I'll take over the payments of the $100,000 mortgage, therefore giving the seller $200,000 for the property. I'll take over the payments of the $100,000, and I'll take $100,000 out of my pocket and give to you. So this way, I just bought a $200,000 property for $100,000 of liquidity cash out of my pocket, but I own the $200,000 property. Now I can take over the payments if there's no alienation clause, but there is. And now, as an investor, we just assumed, or we took over an assignment. Now we get a call, and it's the lender. And the lender saying, congratulations to you. I understand that you just bought 123 Main Street and took over the payments of that first mortgage. Yes, yes, I did. Well, we have good news for you and not so good news. There's an alienation clause in that mortgage, which allows us, the lender, to renegotiate the terms of that loan or call the whole loan due and payable through the acceleration clause. And what we have decided is we want our money immediately, tomorrow, or we're going to start the foreclosure process. Now, see, ladies and gentlemen, see what happened? Not understanding the language that was in the mortgage, and we just assumed this mortgage. Now we find out there was an alienation clause that gave the bank to either renegotiate the interest rate or the terms and let you take over, or not let nobody renegotiate and call the loan entirely due and payable immediately, which is known as the acceleration clause. So alienation clause gives the bank the right to do this, to protect their interests. Acceleration clause is the penalty that they can enforce to expedite their return on their investment. So now I got the bank that called, or the lender, and says, I understand you bought the property and assumed the mortgage. I say, yes, I did. Very smart investor I am. Yes, you are. But bam, alienation clause, acceleration clause. Now the bank wants all their money. Now, what am I going to do? I just put out $100,000 cash to buy this property. And now the lender, now I'm finding out about this alienation clause, this acceleration clause. Now I'm finding out about it. The bank wants another 100,000. I don't have it. And guess what? The bank wants to foreclose on the property. And guess what? I'm going to be out. I'm going to be out of a property. I'm going to be out $100,000 because I did not understand the mortgage. So financial understanding in the real estate business is important. And my school does go into detail of making sure that you understand the bank. The bank will weigh two things for you, the real estate agent: yield and risk. The bank will not make a loan unless the yield is there. And we'll talk about how they calculate their yield before they make the loan. It's a business, ladies and gentlemen. The banks have one product that's called Federal Reserve notes, and they have to make the money on those Federal Reserve notes, money. All right, so they make money on money. So it's basically their only product, and they do a very, very good job making money on that money. And that's why you need to understand the mortgage. So again, ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand the financial world. You got to understand the difference between a mortgage and a note, yield and risk. And if you understand what the bank's trying to achieve, the yield, then you can take a situation in the real estate arena and make it happen, because we understand what the bank wants in order, or what the lender wants in order for the lender to make the loan, especially through the underwriting process. So we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So in this situation, ladies and gentlemen, in the financial world, not only do we have to understand the mortgage, but we got to understand the two financial worlds called the primary market and the secondary mortgage market. The primary mortgage market, ladies and gentlemen, is the lenders, the savings and loans, they still have that, credit unions, lenders, banks. These would be known as the primary lenders, somebody where you would go to borrow your property. So you want to buy a property, and the property is $120,000. You have $20,000 that you can use as earnest money, and the bank will lend you 80% loan to value, LTV. We'll talk about that. And so in this situation, since you're putting 20% down, the bank will give you 80%. You're buying a property for $120,000. They're going to give you a $100,000 loan. Now, you have to understand from this point forward why the bank will give you this $100,000 loan. What is the collateral? What is the requirements? What is the bank? What are the two fees that the bank's going to charge? What is the bank going to do at the settlement table with this loan? So this is a process called the primary mortgage market and the secondary mortgage market. And you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, let's just say that this is $100,000. This is a loan. It's dyslexia for me, I'm sorry. So let's just say that this is a $100,000 loan for 10, okay? You need to borrow it. So I give you this loan to buy your property, and on the bank, I'm going to charge you two fees. I'm going to charge you loan origination fee, and I'm going to charge you discount points. These are the two fees that the bank charges when they make a mortgage loan: loan origination fees and discount points. So you'll learn in the class what the bank needs. The bank doesn't want to service this loan for the next 30 years. The bank wants to make this loan 100,000, give it to you, charge you these two fees, loan origination fees and discount points, and at the settlement table, they will sell this $100,000 mortgage to the secondary market, which is known as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or you, the investor. I'll teach you how to invest in this arena. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will give the bank back, or the lender back, the $100,000. Now the bank has their $100,000 back, plus your fees that you paid for a loan. And now that's how the bank makes their loans. So their yield, they are not in it for the 30 year. The secondary market will service this loan for the next 30 years. And the interest paid on this loan through the 30-year process is why the secondary market buys these loans. Now that means the lender gets this $100,000 back again, and now we lend it to the next borrower. We sell it at the table, we get the $100,000 back again, plus the borrower's fees, and we go on to the next one. And notice that we're lending the same $100,000 over and over and over again, because when the bank makes the loan, they're not making this loan unless they can sell this loan in the secondary market and get that $100,000 back to lend again and again and again. The way that the bank makes their money is by the two fees, loan origination fees and discount points. The secondary lender, Fannie Mae, buys the loans at the table and may rely on the yield of the interest rate of the loan through the 30-year period. So these are some of the things that I will teach you in my class in much better understanding, because I'm trying to beat the clock here. I only have an hour to try to synovize, 3 good chapters, chapter 11, chapter 19, easily 2 good chapters in this subject alone of understanding how your real estate business works in conjunction with the lending business. And we'll also learn the things that we cannot say in our advertisement. So we have to be careful, because we're working closely with the lender, we have to be careful that your terminology doesn't bridge over to our terminology, because there could be a penalty for using financial terms in your real estate marketing. There is RESPA violations, there is TILA, truth in lending, and under TILA, which is another one of those federal laws that you will learn about in the class, you have to comply with certain requirements when you use financial terms. Low mortgage payments, no money down, 1,200 hours a month. You got to be real careful. Make sure your broker approves everything that you do, because some things that you don't understand, which is called licensing law and licensing requirement. Then there's also another thing called state law, state requirement. And there's just one more thing called federal law, federal requirement, because I actually left out the ordinance altogether. So understand, you have to follow these chain of events and make sure that everything is being done legally. And you have to understand what the language, if the contract says, what the language, the financial terms say, what you can and cannot do in your terms. One of the biggest bridge is called earnest money deposit, earnest money deposit. Now, there's earnest money and there's deposit. But there's no such thing as earnest money deposit. There's earnest money and there's deposit. There's salt and there's pepper, but there's no pepper. There's no pepper. There's salt and there's pepper. But somehow or another, I guess some real estate agent once heard earnest money and somehow maybe heard deposit at the same time and bridged them together. But did I just not teach you that we got to be careful using financial terms in the real estate arena? And so using even a term like earnest money deposit could open up a court case, because you might be construed or interpreted as using language outside of your arena. So earnest money, as I teach my students in the class, ladies and gentlemen, earnest money is between the lender and the borrower. Remember I said you were buying a $120,000 property, you're putting $20,000 down, and you're getting a $100,000 mortgage. Well, that $20,000 down is known as earnest money. The bank wants to make sure that you have skin in the game before they'll give you this loan. And since you're willing to put 20,000 of your own money up to buy this property, the bank's willing to give you a $100,000 loan, ADLTV, because you will not probably walk away from this deal with so much of your own money invested. And so what the bank's most likely going to do is give you a conventional loan where there's no insurance or guarantee on that mortgage. It's based on your good credit, your income, 28% of your income. We'll talk about the 28-36 rule, and also your credit, your credit, your income, your good word. So the bank. Now, there's also one more thing that the bank's going to use besides your credit and your good word, and that'll be the property itself. Remember, the bank's lending you $100,000, but we already established the property's worth $120,000. So this means the property's worth $20,000 more than what the bank is lending. Therefore, the bank believes they have enough yield with the buyer's 20% down and that 20% equity already into the property because of the buyer's 20% down. They believe that this minimizes their risk level to make it easier for them to make the loan. So you're going to have to absolutely understand the financial mechanism, and you're going to have to understand what you can and cannot incorporate into your real estate business through the financial mechanism. By understanding mortgages, loan process, federal laws like FICO and FACTA and Equal Credit Opportunity Act and Truth in Lending Act, the APR, and so forth, ladies and gentlemen, that's what this class is all about, to teach you all these things. And now you might understand why my students like coming back to the class again and again and again to keep learning little tidbits, especially when they don't have to pay anything. I'm one of the only schools that does this, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm one of the only schools that it's exclusively live streaming. Some schools have gone back to in-person. I'm making a business decision that as long as the state allows me to continue live streaming with a physical address available for in-person classes, that I want to focus basically on the live streaming class. And the reason that I want to do so, ladies and gentlemen, is because it's very hard for a student in Pittsburgh to go to a local school in Philadelphia. It's very hard for a student in Harrisburg to go to a local school in Philadelphia. And so I think the wisdom and the situation of the pandemic, I think the Real Estate Commission understands that this state required class should be open to a more statewide forum. And so I want to focus on the live streaming class to get everybody that's in Pennsylvania and the outskirts. You don't have to live in Pennsylvania to be licensed, to have a real estate license in Pennsylvania. So you don't have to be a resident. And if you're locating to another state, would it be better to get your Pennsylvania license and then that state license? We talk about these things in the classroom, ladies and gentlemen. And so all your questions would be answered because when we have our live streaming classes, you are right here with me. So this will be a big checkered board pattern with all the students. And some students will wait around for somebody to ask the questions. They just don't have the drive or the gumption to speak up. They're still more introvert than extrovert. You'll learn that in this business, ladies and gentlemen, if you're an introvert, and I am, I'm only an extrovert when it comes to business. When it comes to work, comes to performance, I'm an extrovert. But outside of that, I don't talk to anybody. I don't say hi to anybody. Maybe I'll smile when they pass by, but that's about it because I'm afraid the smile might make you say, hey, don't. So, so I'm an introvert. But in the real estate arena, you need to be an extrovert, ladies and gentlemen. You need to be that social butterfly. You got to have that gift to gab, and you got to be willing to have conversation. Don't, and I teach this, don't feel like you're bothering. Don't feel, oh my God, I can't call. I feel like I'm bothering. They love it. They wanted you to call. They'll let you know if you're bothering them. Don't ever assume that you're bothering somebody. That's going to affect your business. I'm going to be teaching you how to run a real estate business, ladies and gentlemen. So in this class, when I'm teaching you how to run a real estate business, I'm going to have to teach you the psychology issues the way a man thinks from the back of his brain, the way a woman thinks from the frontal lobe of her brain, the way that we think is sometimes wrong. It's wired wrong. And so when I teach you to learn how to rewire the brain, because we do that in class, we'll talk about your short-term memory, your long-term memory, and how to incorporate and cross over the brain hemisphere from the right and the left hemisphere. We go over all these things in class. It's a very thorough class, ladies and gentlemen. This is why the students really love it, because they get way more than what they had bargained for in my class. Sometimes you just never know where my conversation might take the classroom every now and then, ladies and gentlemen. I'll get back on track as quickly as I can, but there's always a lesson to be shared or learned in my class, even when it deals with history. We have to learn our history to understand where we are now so that we can progress further. So the students get a lot more out of my classroom than just learning A, B, C, D, how to answer a quiz, how to pass an exam. I told you I'm going to teach you how to run a real estate business. I'm going to teach you how to invest in property. When you start understanding the mortgage arena, ladies and gentlemen, mortgages prop up the whole world. The biggest investment cycle is mortgage. Everything else pales in comparison, ladies and gentlemen. The money's in the money. And so when you get into the real estate arena, you learn that it's not the property, the boxes that where the money is, it's in the financing, it's in the money. The money's in the money. And so when I teach you how to invest in property, I teach you residual income. I teach you how not to be the landlord, how not to pay the taxes on the property, how not to be burdened with the insurance of the property. Everything is legal, nothing slim shady. But in this situation, I teach you how to sell the property to the buyer so that the buyer makes the payments directly to you instead of to the lender. So no mortgage, owner financing, seller financing, vendor, vendee, purchase, money, mortgage. And we talk about these things, deed of trust, deed in trust. And so when I teach you how to invest in property, I teach you title theory techniques in a lien theory state like Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, we are a lien theory state, which means when you get a mortgage to buy a property, the bank only has a lien against the property. Their name's not on the deed. But in a title theory state, you won't get the deed until you make that last payment 30 years later. So you probably just figured out that in Pennsylvania, when you buy a property, so what? You got a 30-year mortgage, you get the deed day one. And I'm going to teach you not to get the deed and the mortgage confused. All right. Many people think, that the mortgage is the guideline. You already have the deed to the property. You already own this property. The bank only has a lien against the property, which means it's collateral. It is security for the loan. And so the bank likes to hang that over the borrower's head and remind the borrower, if you don't make your payments, we'll take the property. So that's the leverage that the lender has in a lien theory state like Pennsylvania. But in a title theory state, the lender has much more leverage. And when I teach you how to invest in property using deed of trust, deed in trust, the title theory technique, then you're going to have a lot more leverage over your investment properties and much, much easier to take the deed back on this property from a previous investor. So these things I teach you in the class. And so you need to understand there's a lot that goes into this, ladies and gentlemen, a lot. And I got this class kind of broken down. It's kind of feng shui. It's not too exciting, but it's not too boring. It is kind of comical. We do have a lot of laughs. And we do go into one of those real life, what this was you, what would you do kind of scenario situation. And I don't want to go into the psychology of all the lining of the questions and everything, but in the education, there's a lot that goes into it. So from the way that the brain works to understanding memory to understanding the different fundamentals. When I teach you how to pass an exam, I'm going to teach you that the art of taking the exam is learning how to read the question. Many of us want to get to the 4 answers and try to figure out what answer it is before we ever finish reading the question. So when I teach you that there's one word or a whole sentence or the whole answer in the question, it'll be like the game of Jeopardy. You give me the answer, I give you the question. And so Learning how to read the question is what we develop, a good skill that we develop in this classroom that'll pay dividends for you for many, many years to come. So these things are all taught in the class. And I always try to encourage everybody to take a gamble, take a risk. You know, I gave you my free show. This is me. These are the things that you're going to be learning. Is my style acceptable for you? Could you learn from somebody like me? Because this is where you are right now. You're trying to make a decision on what school you want to attend. You read the reviews, you've done your research, you look at the websites, you made your choices, you figured out which one fits your schedule, which one fits your price range, which one might be close, which one you can go to, which one you can't go to. And so I tried to develop this school to try to accommodate just about all those. I have 2 classes that I offer. I offer a morning class, which is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 9 to 1, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I also offer an evening class, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as well. These are not the same class. One would be practice, the other would be fundamental, and I switch and I rotate. I figured out to create a way to get more students per year doing this way. So here's how it works. It's 4 weeks of real estate practice, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 4 hours a day for 4 weeks at $299. And then the following month, it's 4 weeks of the opposite, fundamentals, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 4-hour days for 4 weeks. The time goes fast, ladies and gentlemen. Before you know it, your 4 weeks have flew by and you were enjoying the class so much. But it's good to know you can always come back to the class again and again and again. So now I broke it up this way, 4 weeks, 4 weeks, to give you, the student, an opportunity. Most schools, you got to put out the whole $600 right up to get started. We don't get you don't get our attention until we get the credit card that says $600 is on our account, and then we'll reach out to you. That's not me, ladies and gentlemen. I'll also teach you that no good deed goes unpunished. So this is not a good deed. This is basically a business decision, and I will be teaching you business in the class, and you'll see. So let's get back to it. $299 is all you really need to take a leap, take my class. If you're not happy with the first class that you've been taking, then you don't have to invest the $299 in the second class. Obviously, the class is not for you. My teaching style is not for you. Something's not triggering or working. So now you know that you only invested $299, and I'm sure you will get something out of my classes, that's for sure. But let's just say that you got nothing out of my class, ladies and gentlemen. Well, sometimes it's no different than a slot machine. Life's a gamble. Life's a risk, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? So you put your $300 in the slot machine, and a half hour later, you got nothing to show for it. What would you prefer to do? Would you prefer to waste $300 in that slot machine for the half hour, or would you prefer to invest or waste $300 in a 4-week class that's going to teach you more than you ever imagined in the real estate arena? So these are really choices that we make, but sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be surprised the choices that we make. You will be surprised that there's a large percentage that said the slot machine will prevail. Real estate and education, and the pursuit of this education, is not in my cards, not in my arena. And so you always hear that expression, if it was so easy, why doesn't everybody do it? Well, there's a reason that everybody doesn't do it, ladies and gentlemen, because everybody is not wired the same. Not everybody has the same motivational factors or the same drives or the same goals. God knows I'm goal-oriented. That is my curse. I'm goal-oriented. We'll talk about it in my class. But whatever my goal is, once I achieve that goal, that's it for me. I don't stick around. I don't prolong. I don't keep going. My goal was to do this. I got it done. Now I move on to the next. So that's also my curse, ladies and gentlemen. So that, I don't know, can't explain it, but just the way it is. But so the point is, once I get my goal, once I get, what my goal is $1 million. Once I got the $1 million, now do I want to become a prisoner to that million? Do I want to have to make it again and again and again? If that is your goal, then fine. So again, the reason that not everybody does it is because not everybody has the same desire, the same goal, the same drive. And so If that was true, if everybody did, I'd be a millionaire. Everybody be in my class. It'd be great. But it's a small majority, ladies and gentlemen, that will pursue this avenue of income, of compensation, and a way to receive compensation, earn income. So it's a lucrative. Thank goodness not everybody's doing it, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a lot of wealth that is shared in this arena by the few, because there are more that will be willing to put the money in the slot machine than are willing to invest in that education and learn how to make that money so you become your own real estate money machine. I won't call it a slot machine because you're building a real estate money machine that's going to continue to build income and equity and income. And so it's not really a slot. We do our numbers before we make the investment. We'll show you that as well. So where am I? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So online real estate school. Now's the time where I guess I should share some of my students. And I know I got other videos of other students that my other students want. Oh, no, that's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. Students want to be on the show. They want to be guest speakers. I'm getting a list of the students that want to be on this. I also have my own real estate brokerage. It's Realty LLC. It's Realty LLC. And that is our college, the brokerage. And so when you are out of my class and you pass the state exam and you understand compliance, what we can and cannot do in the classroom, what we can and cannot talk about in the classroom, there can't be no, what do you call that? Steering, there can't be no recruiting. So in the classroom, when we're taking a state requirement, there's rules and regulations, ethics and so forth that you have to comply with. So we can only talk about certain things in the classroom, but here on my show, on this classroom, this is not because nobody signed up. This is free to everybody. It's a public service. I can be a little bit more liberal and talk about other things that I probably wouldn't be able to talk about in the classroom. This is called compliance. And so you'll have to understand under compliance, there will be certain things that you as a licensed real estate agent may and may not say, like a mobile home. You might not be allowed to say mobile home. You might have to say factory built housing. And we'll talk about that in the class. We would have to know the difference between factory built homes and manufactured housing, factory built housing and manufactured housing. And so we'll talk about these. These are all investments and so forth. But as you can see, I can easily jump from representing a client in the contract to the financial mechanism of how that client's going to get approved to buy this property, back to servicing the client through it, understanding the appraisal process. You're going to do a lot of jumping around. There's 32 sections in the agreement of sale. It's not in conformity. So you will see that I have put together the class so it doesn't jump around as much. I really use the contract. Each chapter is part of the contract. And so you'll learn that. And so when I take the contract and I show you how the contract is used while you're learning these lessons in the class, it kind of prioritizes and compartmentalizes your learning in a much better, easier process, because we do jump around, ladies and gentlemen. That's the way the real estate business goes. It went from the home inspector to the lender to the appraiser. We jump around, jump around. All right. But that's the way the real estate business goes, ladies and gentlemen. So you have to learn to understand that you don't stay in one place in this deal, in this transaction. All right. So let's hear from some of my other students, ladies and gentlemen, so you can understand better your decision making.
Well, this school was the only school with 5-star reviews. I did a lot of research.
The information that you give us is just like amazing. I think like most of everybody in the class, it was the reviews for me.
After reading your reviews and just trusting my friend, he said, you're 100% the way to go. And I do not regret it at all whatsoever.
Your school is amazing.
So I came to you, it was completing my applications.
And the broker knows like, okay, this person, wherever they're going to school at. They know what they're doing. Once I talked to you and spoke to you, I was just like, okay, I think this is the right school.
Personally, I have a very good friend that's actually in the real estate business already a broker. He actually recommended you to be a teacher.
Like served as a mentor, just as many others have said. So it's been a pleasure. It really has. You care about all your students.
He's more than a teacher. He's a mentor. He's someone you look up to.
And you're a great teacher, to be honest with you. You slow down when people have a question. You review things as many times as we need you to.
But you take your time. You actually read the get to know and understand it. And I am so ready. I thank you, and I would take this class over and over and over and over and over.
One of the best teachers ever.
This would be really good for me. And then I think what really pulled me in was once I talked to you on the phone.
I did see the 5-star review. I did look around a little bit.
I mentioned you and your school is like really a lot of people about your school.
And I was a little bit skeptical because 5-star reviews, no business, no nothing has 5-star reviews. But it worked out amazing, and I'm happy I chose this school.
But the information that you give, that you get more than a lot of teachers out there give. Oh, absolutely. I think the school actually really went beyond my expectations.
I cannot thank you enough for the experience and just preparation to run my own business.
It's like more information that you give us, the more knowledge I just lock that into my brain, and I know I'm just going to get out there and achieve a lot of things. Working with you has been a pleasure. It really has. You like served as a mentor.
And I would definitely recommend it to anyone who is looking into any kind of real estate development.
And as always, ladies and gentlemen, my number is there right there, 267-972-1084. That is my cell that goes right to me, doesn't go to a switchboard or anything like that. And there's my website, ladies and gentlemen, Online Real Estate School Inc.com Incorporated. It's an S corporation. We will talk about that in the class, the difference between an S corporation, a C corporation, an LLC, and others as we go along. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, the financial world is a big part. Your buyers are not always going to have cash. And so when you're trying to help somebody buy a property and they need to achieve financing to buy this property, having this understanding of how the financial mechanism, the lenders work, is going to make it easier for you to help that individual understand the process. And so that's what this is all about. Now, when we go to a loan officer, sometimes known as a mortgage loan officer or a loan officer, LO, MLO, they're not the decision maker. You need to understand this in the real estate world. So the loan officer does not make the decision, ladies and gentlemen. What the loan officer's job is to try to find new applicants that want to apply for a mortgage and then take that application and get the process started. So that's what the loan officer's job is to do, is to try to find out anybody interested in knowing if you are capable of getting a loan, knowing if you're capable of investing in property, anybody interested in knowing that. And so that's the lender's job. And then the lender will take the loan application. It goes through 3 stages. First, the loan officer. Then the second stage, ladies and gentlemen, is known as processing. And the processing wants to make sure that all the paperwork is there. Tax forms, pay stubs, bank statements, the whole 9 yards, receipts, letters, whatever it may be. So processing makes sure that everything is in order. And then once it's done processing, it'll go to the third and final stage called underwriting. And underwriting is the decision maker. Underwriting will decide, and underwriting is interesting. It could be a person, a group of people, a rotation of people, it could even be a computer program with algorithms set for pass and fail. So the underwriter makes the final decision. And when we are working with borrowers who are borrowing money, a mortgage to buy a property, we are hand in hand with our client, the borrower, who's also our real estate client. Otherwise, we would not be helping them with the financing at this stage of the game. And we'll talk about why you should be helping them at this stage of the game. No good deed goes unpunished. You can't be too nice in this business. And we have to understand that your actions might give the impression of representation So we got to be careful. So we'll talk about implied agency and express agency in the class. So you got to be careful when you become a licensed real estate professional. You got to know what you can say, can't say, and how nice and how accommodating you can be without crossing the line of contract law, licensing law. We got to be careful. So this is again why you would want to take this class and get this knowledge so that you can better represent. Now, when you start learning how to represent others and people love you, you've got to check out Warren. He helped me buy this property. If it wasn't for Warren, I wouldn't have had it. I love him. Everybody does. Okay, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you will be in this position where people will remember you for your kindness, your generosity, your ability to help me get through this hurdle from the agreement of sale all the way to the deed. What do I have to do? And since you were able to help me, don't you think I don't remember? I remember. You got to check out Warren. I want to refer. I'm going to tell my friends about you. I'm going to tell everybody about you. Now, you got free money coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Now that you have helped this one individual, that one individual is telling others, telling their coworkers, and now the phone rings and you got another client and another client, all because you understood how to help one individual. Helping that one individual through this maze, it's not difficult, you a professional will know it, but helping this individual through this maze because they saw a big labyrinth, you saw a straight line to the finish line, but they saw a labyrinth, a maze, and helping them through this labyrinth that they saw, they love you. They love you. You know how to streamline the process to get right to the finish line. But this is where we come into play, ladies and gentlemen. And helping this individual is one scenario, but you would be what's called a gratuitous agent or a volunteer. You would not be allowed to charge that individual for your services of helping them without a real estate license. You would not be allowed to charge them. You would be a volunteer. You would be gratuitous. You would gratitude. You're doing it out of the kindness of your heart, but you would not legally be allowed to charge for your services that you just provided without a real estate license. And so that's why I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that license is your golden ticket, your passport. Once you have a real estate license, you'll never be broke. You'll never be unemployed. Opportunity will present themselves. Doors will open for you. It's amazing what will happen. Do you think years ago when I got my real estate license that I thought I was going to have a school? I thought I was going to have a show. I thought I was going to be a marketing lead generation wizard. I didn't think any of that. All that happened along this journey that I had to understand. I needed to incorporate some other things into my real estate business in order for my real estate business to start generating income. And so I teach this in my class. Your company, your real estate business is not going to generate any income, ladies and gentlemen. Your company, the business that you set up, does not generate income. This is why most business fail, because they don't understand that. They figure if we built it, they will come. Well, maybe on television, but not in real life. If nobody knows you exist, do you think they're going to be working with you today if they don't even know that you exist? So you're going to have to learn to incorporate other avenues like marketing, lead generation, and so forth. Where's your money going to come from? It will come from the leads, the telephone number, the email address, and the name. When you collect, this would be called your database. When you collect enough of these names, email addresses, and telephone numbers, your marketing to this database creates the income. So it's not the business. The business creates the lead generation. The lead generation creates the database. The database creates the revenue. And I teach all this in my class. So again, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's much more than just a real estate class. And this is why when you see my reviews, you understand that I didn't just teach the fundamentals, I taught you the confidence that you need. And after my class is done, I have the college, the university that you can attend after that, which is known as my brokerage. And now this would be on the job training. So you're no longer in the classroom, you're no longer behind the book. Now you're in that property with the client, learning how to represent the client, learning how to go over the contract, learning how to protect the client and negotiate for the client. So now the next stage with my school is the college, the university, on the job training, where we put you in the field and teach you on the job how to do it. And that's the best training, ladies and gentlemen. Just like this. This is not recorded. I refuse to do a recording. Though I'm tempted a couple times because sometimes I can't make it. So I tell them, will they know? Will they really know if it's a live stream or not? Or maybe, maybe not. But I have not. It's always been a live stream class that I've done every Monday for my students. And some shows I love. I think this one was a pretty good one tonight. So I'll be using this one for parts of my marketing and advertising and so forth. I'm going to have other students that will be guest speakers because they're chomping at the bit to be guest speakers here on the show. And so one thing leads to another. And now doors are opening for me. Opportunities are presenting themselves that I did not anticipate or envision before. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that this $299 investment that you're about to make, that I think you understand it's logical at this stage of the game for you to make, it's going to be a life-turning event for you. You're finally going to do it. You're finally going to pull the trigger. You're going to do what you wanted to do so long ago, and now you're out of excuses. Yeah, you're out of excuses. Now it's time to enjoy life. Now it's time to take a different journey, and all you have to do is invest that $299 to get started. I'm not free. You can't have me for free. Well, maybe you can. Free class, huh? What am I saying? I'm not free. Oh well, go live and learn, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, my next class is August 23rd. We will have an orientation on August 22nd. So you need to be enrolled and signed up no later than August 21st if you want to be. I got 3 classes left, ladies and gentlemen, and I kid you not, and I'm very proud and happy to say it. They're filling up. They're already reserved. I already got the October class already done. It's not done. It's not completed, but my students are there. They know I got 3 classes left this year, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see my calendar. I guess I should have had the calendar open, but again, ladies and gentlemen, I got 3 classes left. Let's open up the calendar so you can see these 3 classes. And I know some people don't like the calendar, but again, you know, it is what it is, marketing. So look, ladies and gentlemen, our next class is August 23rd, right here, August 23rd. I got the August, I got the September, and I got the October class. That's what I got this year, ladies and gentlemen. I want to take a little bit of vacation. So no December class, and probably maybe not even a January class. I haven't decided yet. Might get started back again in February. As you saw from my very first class, it was February 1st. So this last class, October, might be the last class until February. I haven't decided, but what I have decided in stitch and stone is I got 3 classes left, ladies and gentlemen. The August class, the September class, and the October class. And I'm telling you, my October class, I'm already packing them in. So you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, the word's getting out. Please read the reviews. I still have the inspiration to teach and get it while it's hot, ladies and gentlemen, why I am still in the mood to educate, to motivate, and to elevate. I just made it up just to be one along. Pretty good, not bad. All right, told you it's live streaming. All right, so I'm glad I recorded it. Now I can go back and say it again and again. Okay, so very good, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, a shout out. Donnie, thank you, brother. Thank you. A loyal, faithful viewer. I always enjoy having you here watching my show. Benny, Joji, again, loyal. From day one to now, always catching my show. So a shout out. And again, Donnie, send me your YouTube channel. Let me get to see your show. Maybe I can put it on the show. Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, send it to me. I'd like to see it, and thank you. Donnie, thank you for being a loyal viewer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your comments. And yeah, I got the negative comments too. That goes without saying. But fortunately, I got the 5-star review, and I hope I can keep that. But you know how that is. There's going to be somebody that is going to tarnish that 5 stars somewhere along the line. But it was nice while it lasted. That's the reality of life. Ladies and gentlemen, no sense of crying about it. Always have an exit plan, always have a backup plan, because you don't do one thing forever. And who knows how long I'm going to be teaching. I am at that age of retirement where me and the wife got some plans. So get these lessons while you can, ladies and gentlemen, and advance. Stop holding yourself back. Invest at $2.99. Do yourself a favor. Invest. You'll be so happy afterwards. Trust me on this. Ask any of my students. They'll tell you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So this was a little bit of a demonstration of some of the things that you will be learning in the real estate class. I am Warren Nelson. I am a licensed real estate instructor, licensed real estate broker, and acclimates that will be boring you. Suffice it to say, much qualified to teach you pre-licensing and qualified to teach you post-licensing afterwards as well. And so give it a thought, ladies and gentlemen. Never keep all your eggs in one basket. Always have another form of income coming in, just in case. You never know. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is Online Real Estate School Incorporated. This is my free live streaming class that I do every Monday at 6 p.m. Tell your friends about it. Please leave your comments, likes, and all the other bells and whistles. And I'll see you again next Monday. So until next Monday, be safe, be healthy, be happy. God willing, I'll see some of you next Monday. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of you in my class. Enjoy your evening. Ciao.